Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to everyone. This is our Friends of Wheeling house tour for April 2022, and it's nice to see so many people, especially neighbors of this particular house. We are in North Wheeling at 649 Main Street. I have a little bit of a history about the house, but before that, let me just give a couple announcements. First of all, next month on Wednesday, May the 11th, Friends of Wheeling will have its annual, except for COVID, presentation forum. It will start at 6:30 on the third floor of the Wheeling Artisan Center, and we will have people talk about their own preservation projects, so it should be quite interesting. And my phone is ringing in my back pocket, and I'm just going to ignore that for now. If you see a funny thing coming out of my back pocket, you'll know what's going on. The second announcement, the Wheeling Area Genealogical Genealogical Society is restarting its monthly series on churches in Wheeling. First two sessions of that series were held right before COVID started. We had one presentation by the rabbi on the Jewish religion in Wheeling, and then one by John on the Catholics, and that's when COVID hit. So we are starting that over again. We tried to start in March with something about Mount Deschanel and the cemetery that's there by Chuck Julian, and that happened to be the Saturday that we had the snowstorm. So that was postponed. And so the first real one in the series will be this Saturday at 10:30 at Our Lady of Lebanon Church. And Monsignor Bacchus Chidiak will be the presenter there, and he's quite an interesting person, and it's an interesting building. Years ago, Friends of Wheeling toured it, but if you haven't been in it, it would be worth seeing just for the architecture, and then to learn a little bit of the history of the Eastern Catholic Church Maronite Rite. That, again, is at Our Lady of Lebanon Church. It's 22. That's at 10:30 on Saturday morning. So those are the announcements. Any other announcements? We're dying here, I think.
It's going off and on, so I unplug it. So mic, but right now it's working.
It seems to be working right now. Okay.
When it doesn't.
All right. So Facebook people, if we are broken up a little bit, we apologize. So the history of this house. This house and its attached neighbor, 647 Street, 647 Main Street, are two of several houses on the family. They were descendants of boilers for steamboats. Deed records show that Daniel Zane Phillips and his wife Emma acquired the property at some point before 1880, and I wasn't able to track it back more specifically than that. Daniel was a son of Hans Phillips and therefore a grandson of Arthur Phillips. In 1883, the property was deeded to Daniel's brother and sister-in-law, Robert H.C. Phillips and Amanda Robinson Phillips. Robert Hazlett Cummins Phillips was elected County Assessor in 1880. He and Amanda had 5 children before his death from typhoid fever in the spring of 1887. Now, it's kind of interesting. We keep running into people who died of typhoid fever in this neighborhood. But if you think about it, the water intake for the city water supply was behind where Uncle Pete's used to be, which is downstream from where the hospital was. At the time that this younger generation of Phillipses owned it, they were living at 647 Main Street, next door. And this property, 649, appears to have been rental property at that time. Following the death of Amanda Phillips in 1910, the property was left to the 5 children, William O. Phillips, Amanda Hazlett Phillips Scatterday and her husband Dallas Scatterday, Sarah Elizabeth Phillips Etzler Franzheim and her first husband William Etzler, Hanson W. Phillips, and his wife Agnes, and Robert Robinson Phillips. During all this time, it appears that the property was rented out. A sampling of tenants listed at this address in city directories includes Mrs. Julia McCune, who was the widow of A.W. McCune, stogie maker Roy Ward, and motorman James P. McGrail. That takes us up to about 1918. Around that time, the Phillips children sold the property to Mary Catherine Menger McDonald. She was the widow of a B&O railroad engineer, Alexander McDonald. Her husband was the son of immigrants from Ireland, and her parents were born in Alsace-Lorraine. The couple had 7 children. Mrs. McDonald apparently lived in the house until her death, and her heirs sold the property in 1987 to Yesterday's Limited. In 1990, G. Ogden and Betty Woods Nutting owned the property for a few months before selling it to John Tarr IV. In 1993, the property was transferred to Theodosia and John Tarr III. The current owner, Giulio Capoletti, purchased it in the fall of 1997. The property is currently for sale, and there are realtor information sheets in the kitchen. Does anyone know any other history of this? Okay, well, we'll walk through. Obviously, we're in the living room. This house had a serious water line break at one point, and so it was taken clear back to the studs, if I remember correctly. So a lot of work has been done. Behind us is the kitchen. We'll go there next. Then we'll go downstairs, hoping that it's not raining very much, so we can see the little backyard and the beautiful flowers that are planted by the neighbors.
Jeannie,
Yes.
I do have a question, since this one is the same size as mine down the street. Is that the original position of the stairs? I saw it when it was being demoed, so the stairs were there, but I don't know if that's the original spot, because my stairs are along the wall.
I can't answer that.
Just curious.
It's hard to tell. Back in the day, there were no requirements for building permits, and so it's hard to find who architects were, to find any architectural plans.
Just curious.
So I have no idea. It
Well-
certainly looks like the original
Yeah, it does.
staircase configuration anyway.
Well, when it was being demoed and I peeked in it, that's where the steps were, but I mean just originally, if that's where they were.
Yeah.
back
Well, they've been
then.
there for 20 years, I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's go see the kitchen, thoroughly modern kitchen.
Okay.
You can turn the mic off. We're going micless. It seems to be working.
This obviously would be an eat-in kitchen. There is no dining room, but all new appliances. I feel like the realtor lady here.
Pretty good renovation.
I don't know what
Fireplace.
we had working with there. All right, so this is kitchen, and let's go downstairs.
Basement. Careful, people walking down the steps. Well, here's some, I'm gonna get to this.
You can hold on to me if you want.
So in the lower level, we have a laundry room, but also the furnace,
Coal chute,
an old coal chute, yes, that's nice. A water tank,
washer
workbench,
dryer, washer dryer.
washer dryer, and a laundry tub.
Oh, door, glass knobs. Bathroom.
A full bath. And what could be another bedroom.
Guest room, yep. And, oh, it's raining. Okay.
And it is raining, but there's a nice little backyard.
Yep.
And the beautiful flowers that the neighbors
Lisa's
have planted.
backyard.
That's Lisa's backyard.
High hills. No river. Oh, here. You can see up here. Okay. Okay.
It's a nice use of space.
Narrow stairs.
Going this way?
You can just peek in there and then go the other way. Susan, could you stop?
Okay.
Okay.
No, I'm not worried about me.
Oh, I will. I guess this is the...
Yeah, fire department pipe where you slide down.
All right.
Get this little.
Okay, now we're going up to the second floor.
There's Joanne. How
Hey,
are you?
good.
How's Jimmy doing? Haven't seen him in a while.
He's watching.
Are you taking pictures of Jean's bus?
Okay.
This would be the master bedroom. Nice fireplace.
View of the Main Street.
And double closets, but they're the shallow kind. But then there's a very large closet in the very large bathroom.
With a fireplace.
And the fireplace in the bathroom. Doesn't everyone have a fireplace
know.
in their bathroom?
Little
So from
closet.
here you can see the river.
Yeah.
So I would probably put a chair right here and
Yeah.
just enjoy.
Okay.
And then there's a third floor as well.
Cool door.
And this could easily be another bedroom,
Half bath.
a half bath.
Yeah, Pam, they are great brick walls.
And a terrific view of the river.
Oh,
from
yeah,
here.
but here, this is, look at that. Oh, here's the front. Okay.
All right, and we have seen it. 649 Main Street, currently for sale. I believe the asking price is $189.9. Enjoy.
See you next month.
See you next month.